Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode. We are here for the Spanish Grand Prix, all Grand Prix. Obviously you've got the feature race, the sprint race, quali and practice. Speaking of practice, as we get a big snap of oversteer, you can see that we're managing to get through these practice sessions a-okay. We had a good bit of pace here. I can't lie, we're definitely feeling very good, especially during the fuel saving, having a little slipstream down into turn one, with Vashur kind of making us park both cars. A bit of a sketchy moment in practice of all things. If it was the race, it'd be a bit more understandable. With practice, it's a bit too soon for that, lads. And then same with the race strategy, it was just fine, nothing too spectacular, just plodding along, making our way through, just to try and get into a good spot where we can qualify hopefully relatively well. As we can see, the usual suspects are up at the top, but here in qualifying, as you can see, we're on our first run. We're currently up a little bit on Miata, not by a massive amount, no purple sectors, currently only greens at the moment as we make our way towards what is effectively the final two corners. It's quite fast, it's quite tricky once you kind of get used to at what point to lift off to go full throttle down the start finish straight. It actually works out quite well. We managed to go P2, we're just off Bortoleto. We did manage to go purple in sector 3, so coming into turn 1 we're going to brick just before the 100-meter board, try and get on the inside curb, make sure we don't go too much and avoid those little yellow bollards, which are very sneaky. They're kind of really well hidden, that you don't necessarily see them until you hit them. By the time you've hit them, it's a little bit too late. But coming into turn 4, once again, this time braking in between the 50 and the 100, hugging the inside curb nice and tightly, run nice and wide, avoid the exit curb on the left-hand side. We're going to brake bang on the 100-meter board. Again, navigate those little orange sausage mini curbs. They're an absolute nightmare when it comes to this. But into this little chicane, we get a bit on the grass, which isn't ideal, so we lose the apex coming through turn 7. We're not too bad. We did lose a little bit of time, but we managed to go over that curb quite well, which is probably the only one of these curbs you can actually do. But coming into the end of sector 2, into turn 10, just before the 100-meter board, we're going to take a nice tight line to the apex. We're not going to drift that wide as you probably would expect, just because if we do, we kind of scrub off a bit too much speed. We then have to go the way back to the left to then take turn 12. But turn 13, 14 is definitely the best corners on this circuit by country mile. I'm so glad they brought it back to this. And then through the final corner, we lift off. We're very hesitant. I'm glad we did, otherwise we would have been comfortably in the gravel. We go across the line to set a 1:23.402, a decent amount of time ahead of Bortoleto, and we know almost instantly in the car that is going to be good enough for pole position. 1.8 tenths to Bortoleto ahead of Antelli Colapinto. So it's quite tight. It is still really tight here. So this is probably some of the best pace we've shown, I'd argue, maybe since Bahrain. So we obviously have to try and capitalise on this as best we can. We are definitely losing a lot of positions and points. We have an awful grid slot once again. It's definitely something we're struggling with this year, which is quite interesting. I want to blame the car. You know, the old F2 car, I never had an issue with parking, but this F2 car, for whatever reason, I extremely am. But we're ready for the 5 lights to go out here for the sprint race here in Barcelona Catalunya. We've got Bortoleto to the left and Antelli just ahead. We don't get a very good start. This is probably the worst start we've had all season. We get a bucket load of wheel spin. Bearman to our left-hand side, sticking his nose in there. We're going to stay in the slipstream of Bortoleto. We're going to have to pull out to the left-hand side. We've got Hauger who moves out as well, and Snelly. We're going to follow him as best we can. We've got Hauger to our right-hand side, and we're not going to be able to make the move on Hauger. We're going to go side by side with him. He'll have the inside line for this corner, but coming into turn 4, we're going to have to see if we can make a move early doors. We're going to go look to the inside, and then we're going to swap to the outside. We're going to lock up our front left, and we're just going to drag it into the gravel, and we're round on lap 1. And that was not our brightest decision we've ever made, I don't think. We just completely got caught out by the dirty air. And switching to the inside, by that point, we're all on the curb, meaning we just can't brake at all, which is a bit frustrating, but we'll see from our on board. We have an opportunity to go up the inside here. I think it's going to start to cover it off, so I go to the outside, and I just can't get the car slowed down in time. And obviously by this point, the car's all the way around. So on lap 2, you can see we're not having a great time. We've spun the car coming out of 10, so it's not going well. I mean, the tyre's a little bit cooked. We're dipping our tyre in the gravel on lap 5. Our car's absolutely filthy, and I think this is where we're going to call it for the race. We want to retire the car. It's just not feeling right, and we weren't having a good time. So unfortunately for us, it's another bad result in one of the races of the weekend. Taylor Barnard does win ahead of Vachor, Hadjar, Antonelli, Bortoleto, Colapinto, all up there. But it's super frustrating for us to see now Hadjar has extended that gap just a little bit more. But hopefully we can capitalise on this feature race. This is where the big points are. The sprint races are less important, but at the same time, they are about as important as we kind of need them to be. We've got Bortoleto just behind us, followed by Antonelli and Colapinto. Hauger, Vachor. It's a shame Hadjar's not up here. It'd be a lot of the F1 drivers that would be here. Barnard, who won the sprint race in P8. Hadjar down all the way in P9. Same with Behrman. Behrman's not had a good time. Our teammate Paul Aron in P13. Dirksen and Maloney following up towards the back of the grid. Kushmini after having that spin in Monaco down P18. And on the back row of the grid, we've got Roman Stanek and Victor Martins. I'm quite surprised at how low down Victor Martins is. He must have had an issue in qualifying. But luckily for us, we did suffer none of the same fate as you can see we're on the front row of the grid. Speaking of the man, we were just explaining he must have had issues as he looks over his data to try and figure out what went wrong. We're looking at the data to figure out what went right as we start from pole position, but we of course once again can't nail the parking. So this is a trend that we're going to have to contend with as lights are out very quickly. As we get a good start, we get ahead of Colapinto. Antonelli's got ahead of Bortoleto, so Antonelli's had a great start. Looks like Bortoleto's not had a good one. Antonelli's going to follow us to try and get our slipstream. I don't think Bortoleto's going to have any issues with losing another position. You've got Hauger and Colapinto who are going side by side. They're going to be battling the two teammates, but we do manage to break away very quickly. I'm going to run it a little bit wide as we come up to the end of Sector 1. We've got a 4/10 gap, so it's going to be crucial getting as much of a gap as possible. As we've got Ollie Behrman battling with Crawford here. He's going to not get the move done side by side, but he's going to give it a go through turn 5. Behrman up the inside of Jack Crawford. Crawford will fight this. He'll have a good exit as we run down into turn 7, but good effort from Behrman nonetheless. Crawford holds onto the position, so that's good defensive driving from Crawford, which means Antonelli will have DRS sadly when we get to it, but we're definitely lacking a little bit of straight line speed. As you can see, I know he does have our slipstream, no DRS at the moment, but he is slowly closing. We're on lap 3 and we can't shake Antonelli, unfortunately. He is hanging onto the back of us. We're dragging Bortoleto with us. Nice gap to Colapinto. So as it stands, it's looking like it's just going to be a fight for the top 3, as that's Richard Vachor who's having an issue with a Mecha Chrome engine. Unfortunately, that seems I've given up the ghost. No safety car, though, to that regard. But we're going to continue to crack on, and hopefully ours doesn't end up letting go like that. Vachor's not had a very good season so far. But as you can see, coming through the final corner, we're managing to get the gap just above a second, but unfortunately I feel like Antonelli is going to have DRS just beforehand. We're going to look a little bit further back. We've got Taylor Barnard making a few moves on what is Villa Gomez. And you've got Hadjar, one of the championship leaders and protagonists at the moment, trying to go all the way around Villa Gomez. This would be a sensational move if Isaac Hadjar could pull this off. We'd prefer it if Villa Gomez stayed ahead, but the fact he's leading the championship, you'd expect him to kind of get the move done. He's going to have the inside line, and that's going to be a relatively safely move done by our championship leader. So Hadjar moves up into P7, and you can see we're being given an option to change strategy, and our tyres are so cooked. We're going to take this with open arms. So we're going to come in really early in comparison to everybody else. So we're going to put on the hard tyre. We will be last, excluding Richard Vachor, but at the front you've got Bortoleto and Antonelli. You're going to go side by side battling, which genuinely could not be any better for us, because while these guys are squabbling, we're just to be gaining time on them hand over fist, especially on our outlaps. This is exactly what we need. So while we're pushing away, we've obviously been given a challenge to conserve fuel where possible. But we've got Bortoleto and Antonelli both in the pit lane. Bortoleto's been held, Antonelli's been released, so Antonelli regains the position on Bortoleto. So that's going to help us even more. We're coming out of the pits, they are, and we're going to cruise up all the way to the left-hand side, try and get as much space to Antonelli going into turn 1. But as far as things go, that worked out really well for us. We're going to try and need to gap them as quick as possible. They are on cold tyres and coming to the end of the lap. You can see we've opened up the gap to 1.8 seconds. So if we can just maintain this gap, if these two continue fighting, that early stop really did help us out, as Villa Gomez now under fire from O'Sullivan. So Villa Gomez is not having the best time. He's losing the position before he even gets to turn 1. He couldn't even fight that going into 2. So moving forward onto lap 10, you can see we've got the gap to about 2 seconds. We can't keep our front right warm, which is a bit weird, but Bortoleto isn't going to be concerned about no issues such as that. He's to slide up the inside of turn 1. Antonelli will fight this back. Antonelli does love giving a robust defense. We saw that in Saudi, we saw it in Monaco, and we're seeing it here now in Spain, where Bortoleto thought he would have had the job done, but Antonelli is keeping his foot in, and he's going to have the best optimal line coming into the next sequence of corners. And Antonelli does seem like he's going to hold on to the position at least for this lap. So Bortoleto is going to have to go back to the drawing board as we are on the penultimate lap. The gap's opened up a little bit, and as you can see, Bortoleto has since made the move work on Andrea Kimi Antonelli, and this is exactly how he did it. So coming down the inside, there's a little bit of light contact from Bortoleto and Antonelli, but Bortoleto gets the move done before you really get into 3, which obviously Antonelli then couldn't put up a fight through 4. But also a little bit further back, we had O'Sullivan and Hauger battling it out, and O'Sullivan's made up another position, so he's done quite well. And then on the final lap, Bortoleto Antonelli v4. Antonelli's going to get the move done going into turn 1. There's a lock-up from Antonelli as well. So Antonelli getting the move done on the final lap, just to kind of make sure that there is as many points on the board as possible. Behrman gets past Villa Gomez. Villa Gomez is going backwards, the poor guy. But we're going to come across the line to take a beautiful and much needed P1, our second race win of the season. And it's been such a long period where we've been struggling non-stop. But to get first once again, you know what that means. We're going to be seeing the phone on the podium. But driver of the day, lights the flag finish more or less. We did obviously lose the lead and this lead under the pit stop, but we needed that so badly for the championship, guys. You have no idea the gap that they were opening up with Antonelli finishing P2 as well. I believe he may now be the championship leader, only gaining 7 points on him initially for this race, but obviously with the points he got in the feature race, with the points he got in the sprint race, only amounts to about 2 points. So we're gaining 2 points over the whole weekend over Anthony, and we won one of the races. So that's going to be a long climb. As you can see, he's got an 8-point gap to Hadjar, 21 points off of Antonelli, which is a bit of a tall order. High Tech slowly getting that 18 points off. But what a thrilling Grand Prix weekend. If you enjoyed it, let me know which was your favourite, the sprint race or the feature race. If you enjoyed, make sure to slap a like and subscribe for the next one. And I'll see you in Spielberg, Austria. Bye-bye.